shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoop Jargon. Shout out to
Hoop Jargon, man.
All right, everybody, let's try this again, man. Shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. Shout out to everybody who's on the stream. I know the first one I had a little technical difficulty, but we bringing it back. I'm having a guy out here who's basketball acumen that I really respect. You guys are really going to enjoy his commentary as we go and talk about the Texas Tech Red Raiders season thus going forward. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him up, man. My guy, Talvin Hester. What's up, man?
What's good, man? I see on the first thing you try to represent the H.
I was screwed and chopped on the first one, man.
Yeah, screwed and chopped on the first one. I feel you. It's going down.
Yeah. It's in me. It's always going to be in me. H-Town, drown. But Coach, man, happy to have you on, man. And so let's, for those who are not familiar with, who you are and what your position is at Texas Tech, being an assistant coach, give a little rundown. Tell the audience about yourself, man.
I'm just a regular guy from Arlington, Texas, actually. I crossed paths with Cliff it's been about 20 years, Cliff.
It's crazy, man. Don't say it like that.
16 years. 16
years
there you
ago.
Go.
That sounds better.
When I broke into Division I coaching at Prairie View A&M. And then, from that time on, it's kind of been a blur. Just kind of moved around the country, coaching different Division I programs until I found myself here in Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock, Texas, of all places. Lord have mercy. God bless you.
God bless you. Hey, you know what? Though, I'm being really honest. I lived a lot of places. It's a great place. It ain't bad.
Really?
I promise. Yeah.
Okay.
It's bigger than you expect. Bigger than you would expect. A lot going on, and the biggest thing is they Texas Tech crazy here. So, I mean, when I do what I do every day, you walk around town and they're Red Raider crazy for real. It's love. Love it.
That's a beautiful thing, man. It's good to when people embrace the culture of the program. And so with Lubbock, I'm sure it's not a lot to do. So I'm sure that the Texas Tech Raiders is a staple in the community. So that's good that they support it that way, man. That's a beautiful thing to observe.
Yeah, we're the school of West Texas, baby.
Yeah. Well, it's like y'all and UTEP, the only two, huh?
Us, UTEP, Abilene Christian.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's technically West Texas. All right, I'll go with that.
Abilene, yeah.
All right. Shout out to Murgod 777. So what's up, Hoop Jargon and Coach? Shout out to Coach Talvin. Absolutely. So, all right. So a little bit of background. Coach Hester, as he alluded to, was one of my coaches when I was at Prairie View A&M. He is a Prairie View alum himself. I actually have the benefit to coach with him as well, so I know how meticulous he is. I know how well versed he is in the game of basketball, and I'm very proud to see you being in the Big 12 level. That made me get to brag. Like, yeah, Coach, I had
You know what though? Those days back then, they helped mold me, you to who we are, and I wouldn't change those things for the world. I promise
Absolutely.
you.
And speaking of PV alums and former athletes, shout out to Melissa Higgins hopping in on the chat, man.
What's up, V?
Yeah, PV in the building. So Coach, let's talk a little bit about the season. You guys are currently sitting at 9-2, number 25 ranked overall. So salute to that. So how's the season going? How the guys feeling, and what are some of the insights for going forward?
It's going well considering, when we got here, I think we had 4 or 5 guys on scholarship. When I took the job April 28th, and Coach put a staff and a team together that we felt like could compete. We're getting better every day. I've always told people, in my opinion, one of the hardest things to do is win with new guys. Returners have always won over the years. But now with this transfer portal thing, people are having to learn how to win with new guys. And we've done what we're supposed to do so far. We felt like we let a couple of them get away from us. One on the road to a very, very, very good Providence team. We felt like we let it get away, but hats off to them. They're really tough, coached really well. We backed that up and won a game at Madison Square Garden versus Tennessee. And then we played Gonzaga and Phoenix, where we fought and we came up short. But, I think we're on track to what we want. We just have to keep improving every day, and really focus on the journey and not the destination.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point because in a given season, you can get lost in the game to game, the how they put it, the day-to-day rigors. And
Yeah,
you want to understand that you got a short-term goal and you got long-term goals that you had to
right.
adhere to. And for aspirations to win at a high level, which I'm sure you guys have,
Yeah,
you gotta, it's almost like a series of seasons within a season. And you got to keep guys' heads on the right way because as you know, I mean, if we've been honest, when you coach me, we had a talented bunch, but sometimes things will get a little wayward. Let's put it
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
And it's
And with all due respect, I was a young coach. I was still learning at the same time, and all those experiences have helped me through these 20 years of becoming who I have become as a coach. So yeah, those times and coaching your group, and I'll be honest, your group was kind of the segue to Prairie View becoming who they are today. Um,
appreciate that.
Kind of gave a respect in the cities, both Dallas and Houston, and kind of made it where kids wanted to come. And now they're reaping the benefits of all that work that you guys put in. So it's been good. Like I say, we're just trying to get lost in our everyday, get lost in our practice, get lost in getting better at the things that we're struggling in a little bit. Get better in cohesion. Like I say, eight guys that add to the few guys we had coming back, and then just try to grow every day. And if we can continue to do that and focus on that, usually the other stuff takes care of itself.
That's so true. It's prophetic. It sounds generic, but it's so true. It's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And shout out to Morris Dixon, our old trainer, my boy Mo
Morris.
to this day, man. Shout out to Mo, man. Hey, I gotta give Mo a shout out. Mo is a trainer who didn't take nothing from nobody. You wouldn't go just talk to him any kind of way.
At all. If you want your ankles taped, fall in line.
He's falling.
Fall in line.
You're not skipping the line to get taped up by
Hey,
Mo.
he was more than a trainer though. Mo was also the disc jockey. Mo would bring the screw
Definitely.
tapes and CDs to us, man.
Absolutely. He gonna flow. Hey man, shout out to Mo again. My good friend to this day. And shout out to my boy Will, man, one of my best friends. He played at Stephen F. Austin. Will Johnson is his name. He says, what's up, fellas? Never get too high, get too low. Absolutely. You know what time it is, man. Shout out to Miss Fadima. Merry Christmas. Appreciate that. And yeah, let's jump it off, man. So how you guys handling COVID, man, as far as your protocols and what have you?
Doing just that, following protocol. Our trainers' jobs are very hectic at this time of year. Everybody's vaccinated, just getting things like that, just making sure we can handle what we can handle, control what we can control. Being safe, being clean, things around the office, sanitize, like clean office. I mean, it's all the things that everybody's doing, we're doing. I think some of this is new variant, all that is unexpected. I think you see NHL, who's a multi-million-dollar corporate, they've shut down, and you see multiple college games being shut down. I don't think that's in anybody's control. I think it's just what's happening. So we're trying to prepare to play, and then we'll cross those other bridges when we get there. Hopefully, we can keep doing the right things, and we'll get to keep playing. That's our goal.
Yeah, it's in there, and I like that because it's like it's only so much you can control, man.
Yeah.
Nobody saw this coming in. What is creating this new norms? I was talking to my girl a little earlier about this, and it's like it's so many things you cannot control. And the question that was posed was like, if these new mandates come, will people adhere to them? I'm like, yeah, because we have no choice. People generally adapt to what is laid forward,
Right.
to them. And it's just funny to see sports being affected so heavily.
Yeah.
When, if we're being honest, sports is what they call the great distraction. It keeps you away from your worldly problems. Mm-hmm. That's why people love sports as, a getaway, as it were. And so it's very important in that capacity, man. And so to see it being affected like that, I've been to an NHL game 2 weeks ago. Went to the Ducks and the Las Vegas. I always make this joke, the slot machines. I don't know what their team name is, but
nice.
So whatever. The jackpots. But I went to the game, and it's funny they shut down because I just went to my very first hockey game 2 weeks ago. So That's interesting you brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control.
Yeah.
And if I sat and worried about what was going on, we can follow what our trainer tells us to do and the mandates and all that. We can do all that. But outside of that, we just got to practice and worry about our team and worry about getting better, you know?
Worry about getting better. I like it because that's, again, it sounds boring, but that is literally what you got to do constantly and consistently. So, again, y'all doing well. Y'all dropped 2. I mean, nobody's going to fault you for losing to Providence and Gonzaga. So, I think, besides you being a traitor and beating Prairie View, I'll let you off the hook for that. I'll let you off the hook. Hey, but you guys are playing a lot of HBCUs on the schedule. Is that kind of intentional, or how's that go?
I don't really do the scheduling, but I don't think it's any intention. I think scheduling is something that's very, very hard. Dates have to line up, team schedules have to line up. You always try to put a competitive schedule together. And we did play Prairie View, but I mean, let's be honest, they've dominated that league the last few years.
Absolutely.
They're a really good team. And before they dominated, Grambling actually won that league before Prairie View won. So, we've tried to play some really good opponents. And just because they're HBCUs, I wouldn't say that they're not. We played well in those games at times, and there's a process of getting better. But I think I would believe our coaches just try to put the best schedule we can, for it.
Yeah, and true. Like Prairie View, and we talked a little bit off camera, man. Prairie View and Texas Southern going to be 2 teams you're going to be seeing a lot at the top of the SWAC. And so I think it's a lovely thing, being mostly Houston-centric. I know you're from Dallas, but, Fort Worth. Not Fort Worth.
Arlington, man.
Tripping. Yeah, so I think it's a good thing. Now, let's switch gears a little bit.
Hey, and speaking of that, though, I know you said HBCUs, but TSU did knock off Florida, so we don't take no wins for granted. They did, so we don't take any wins for granted.
On the road, by 15.
On the road, exactly. So we're taking them W's.
That's fair. That's very fair. That's very fair, sir. And I got to give TSU a lot of credit as well. They beat UT Rio RGV.
Rio Grand Valley, yeah.
Grand Valley with John Walker out was one of their better players. They beat him on the road as well. And it was a sound victory. So shout out to TSU, man. You guys are playing well. I watched that game. So let's talk about, where Tech is going, man, because you guys have come from a team that, the Texas of the world may have got more attention. The OUs of the world may have got more attention. So now, like, Texas Tech is like the place to go hoop. Talk a little bit about, how you guys put guys like Mac McClung in the league, Jared Culver. Just what started this swell to where Tech is just somebody to be reckoned with, and you guys on the schedule, you better know it's coming hard at you.
I think it was started a while back. I mean, when you started seeing Texas guys have success like Andre Emmett and Tony Petit, way back in those days, and the Jason Sasser of the world, Darvin Ham, those guys had a lot of success. Yeah, those guys had a lot of success, and you follow it with some great coaches. I mean, Bobby Knight, Tubby Smith, Jeremiah. Like, you follow it with great coaches, James Dickey. And then the last staff that was here did an unbelievable job also. I think people don't even, I don't know if they forget or they realize we played in the national championship in 2019, Texas Tech did.
Mm-hmm.
So they've had a lot of recent success also. So I think it's been happening. I think just, for whatever reason, the people who need to know, I think, know. And I think, like you say recent pros, but like I say, those other guys are pros too that we named. They're just, as time goes on, people forget, and that's in every aspect of life. So the thing is, I love about here, like I tell you, the support here is next level. It's first class. The administration is unbelievable, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for putting good coaches in place. Making it a place where players want to come. And then the fans have a lot to do with it because they make the atmosphere next level. So I think it's been happening. I think social media put it out there a little more. Like, you can kind of get information that you couldn't get, 20 years ago about every program, So it's just a little more noticeable, I would believe.
It is. And so, again, from the general population watching Texas Tech, again, in my mind, I won't speak for you.
Right.
It's just the pecking order. Tech kind of has fallen down a little bit as far as the old Big 12, as it were. And now, like you look at Texas Tech, it's like, Texas Tech is going to be in the mix when the dust settles. And I think that is a very good testimony, tantamount of a program that is looking to step out and be elite. And especially, with the Big 12, with Texas and OU leaving, I just see you guys as going to be the new face of the Big 12, if we're being honest, just being perfectly honest, like you and the Baylor for that matter. So I'm sure that's probably one of you guys' rally cries. I'm sure.
Don't forget about that small team, Kansas. Don't forget about it. No.
I just did overstep Kansas.
It's a really good league. West Virginia.
I messed that up.
I mean, I don't care how you chop it up. I don't care what teams are in. It's a really good league. And I would argue that the new schools coming in, the Houstons and Cincinnatis and BYU, like those are really good programs. Also, I don't think it'll be any drop off at all. Like you say, control what we're going back to control what you control. We can't control all this conference realignment stuff. We just want to be the best we can be when the ball gets thrown up. And once it gets thrown up, we want to be able to compete with anybody. I feel like we can.
Well, y'all approved it. Number 25 team in the nation. That's facts. Okay, so let's now you mentioned things you can control and new elements added with the internet or what have you. And one of the byproducts that excuse me, is the new NIL changes and players being paid for their likeness and what have you.
Right.
How has that affected how you guys go about business that's going forward? I know it's still in the infantile stage, but you give us some insight on that.
Inside, it's not. It's probably talked about a lot, but it's not something that I would per se is it's in the infant stages, so we don't really know how it's going to affect long term. Short term, I think it's probably kept a few guys in college that probably would have took their chances at playing pro ball. As far as the masses, I don't think it's bothered them. There's a value to you as a person, and I'm sure you know this through your social media, through your channel, and through all this. Like, I mean, they're just not giving out free money. I mean, these people are getting the money. You see, Master P's son got money. There's a value to having him around, and a lot of people that are getting it are people who have thousands and millions of people following them on social media. So, like I say, in the long term, we don't know yet. It's in the infant stages, but in the short term, it's just something that's talked about a lot. People are trying to figure it out. What's the biggest, I guess, difference to us is just to know you got guys on your team that possibly getting paid, like from some institutions. Because remember, they couldn't even sell water bottles in their name on them.
Yeah.
When you play.
Yeah. Couldn't sell your jersey to an alum or something like that.
You couldn't do any of that. So, I mean, it's more, what do you say? It's more just an infant stage. We're trying to figure it out. And trying to figure it out doesn't mean trying to make it work for you. And that doesn't mean that. Trying to figure it out means how's it going to affect the game? How is it going to affect the game? That's all we want to know so we can keep coaching. How is it going to affect the game?
I like that. And let me add this. You said how it's going to affect the game. It kind of makes me think about how basketball is kind of changing with the outside shot being more prevalent. How is it to kind of rein kids in to kind of still have structure, but kind of let that new style of play, Rob?
You know what? I've worked for a lot of really, really good coaches, including the one I work for now. And the consistent theme of all that is playing hard and playing defense. A lot of coaches will give a guy a lot of ability to do things on the offense end of the floor if they play hard and guard. There's more possessions in the game and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's always going to come down to who can get stops at the end of a game. So, you wanted the effective field goal percentage, the threes value more than the two. We get all that. I think more than anything, it's taking the low post guy that is dominant in the paint. It kind of, and I'm not saying to equalize them because you need those guys, but I mean, you can play without a Shaquille O'Neal and be really effective. You can play without a guy that's dominating, but those guys are still important if they're rebounding the ball, if they're blocking shots. I mean, there's still value to these guys, but like I said, I think over time everything adjusts. I mean, we can talk about football. Talk about back in the day, they ran the wing tee, no receivers. Now everything's shotgun, 5 receiver sets.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
are they adjusted? I mean, they just adjust. And you just adjust and you do what you got to do. But I think it's the consistents are playing hard and guarding. And if you do those things, you give guys a lot of rope on that other end.
And I want you to say that because in this space, a lot of people don't really put a lot of merit into that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know, like those hard practices where it's just defensive drills, because it becomes systematic for you know where to be. You know your assignment, you know your limits, you know the scheme, and that leads to winning. You know, one of the drills I hated the most is when you put the bubble on top of the basket and you shooting and you learn to rebound. I hate it because it was no intrinsic reward, at least from what you see. But in the game, it's imprinted in your mind, and you know what to do. You know how to box out properly. You know how to make sure you're up on your assignment properly by doing those boring drills. And so again, I want to hear a Big 12 level coach say it, because this is like boring stuff, quote unquote, but this is stuff is tantamount to what you do.
Imagine this, though, that the best defensive teams in the league are practicing against the best defensive teams in the league.
There you go.
So imagine offensively when they go play teams that are inferior defensively, the offense gets a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
It makes sense.
Absolutely.
A little bit. And I think that might be with every sport. I don't know. Every team sport, I don't know. But in basketball, you have a really good defensive team. It's hard to score in practice. So you look forward to those games where you play teams that aren't quite as equipped defensively. And I would believe that every year, the things that stay the same are the best defensive teams have a chance to get in the tournament and do well.
At the end of the day, man, you can stop people from scoring. You'll figure it out on the other end, man. And it's something that doesn't get a lot of praise. It doesn't get a lot of attention. But if you're talking winning, when we're talking sustained success, you have to account for that side of the ball. FYF Sports asked, man, it's coached by my homie Adonis Arms. He plays with him right now.
Yeah, I love Adonis, man. Adonis is transferring from Winthrop. Big guard, can shoot it, can handle it, getting better every day. Love having him, love coaching him, great kid. I know people use that terminology, but we got a bunch of great kids. So love Adonis, man. He's one of my favorites.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Because, usually you get the great kid, and then the story after that, all right, so what's wrong with him?
Exactly. No, we have actually a bunch of really good kids, and Adonis is one of them. I mean, I could go down our roster, and it's a joy to coach these kids, man. It is an absolute joy. So, we love having Adonis. He had a really good game against East Washington the other day. So.
That's what's up, man. And I like these stories coming because FYF has a very popular channel that he does. I think he knows Coach Rim as well. So no, that's good that connection is there. Justin Singleton says that's true. U of H is known for good defense and rebounding. That trumps their offense, which isn't as good. Now, this is a place where you had to stop at. U of H, we had some off-camera talk about some of the success that's come out of there. What's your opinion on that assessment about you?
A lot of bubble drill days at U of H. A lot of bubble drill days. And I would say this, and it trumps our offense. It was good enough to get them to the Final Four. So at the end of the day, it being great defensively and that looks like gets me to the Final Four, I'll take them odds. But Kelvin's one of the greatest. We know that I'm not speaking anything different. I mean, his team's going to be the toughest team usually every night. They're going to fight. They're going to claw. They're going to rebound. They're going to push. And when you spend a lot of time on one end of the ball, one end of the floor, getting better, it's going to take from the other end of the floor, I mean, let's be honest. It looks like Alabama football spends a lot of time on, defensively. I guess
Absolutely.
that's who he is. He hires people to do offense. So, like at the end of the day, I think people see Baylor last year. They were so good offensively, but what they don't know is they were so good defensively, and that might be one of the best shooting teams we've ever seen. They're like 4 or 5 guys shooting 40+% from three. That's why they won a national championship.
That's nuts.
But at the end of the day, you go back in the history of it. I mean, there's a lot of teams. Virginia won the national championship against Texas Tech. It was a defensive battle, And I would think that the experts would say that, oh man, neither team was great offensively, but they were competing for a national championship. So at the end of the day, It's one defense is one Kelvin a lot of games, and I think a lot of his players are having success at the next level. I see Quentin Grimes broke that rookie Knicks 3-point record.
Keep going.
Armani Brooks is playing for the Rockets now, who had the pleasure of being around when I was at Houston. I have a great relationship with him and his family. Damon Dotson was in the league. Rob Gray just won the EuroLeague championship last year. Like, his players are having a lot of success offensively at the pro level. So if I was a bet man, I think Kelvin's gonna keep being Kelvin.
Yeah.
You know,
consistency is key with Kelvin Sampson experience for sure. Yeah, that's there you go. Nothing else to be said on that.
Yeah, no doubt.
One of the coaches I respect very highly, you know, especially had been a little trouble in some circumstance, but coming back and doing so successful at U of H for something that you ain't seen since the Five Slammer Jammer days, as far as being consistent deep in the tournament. I've seen Clyde Drexler come through. I've seen Tom Penders come through. Dickey. So yeah, man, it's been, I mean, being a Houston native, even though I'm not a Houston fan per se, obviously you're gonna be invested somewhere emotionally to the program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
In your city.
It's in my city, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it is very, somewhere deep down, there's some pride to see U of H doing well, you know.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And, I mean, my little stint there, I still love those guys. You know what I'm saying? So I still, you know, quietly, you know, some of those kids that I had the chance to coach and whatever, I cheer for their success. And I still talk to Kelvin and, you know, get nuggets, because I want to take from all these coaches I've learned from, hopefully one day, and put it in my brain and establish it and become one of them, you know, have the success they're having in my own type way, you know? So, yeah, I understand you being a Houston guy, like, happy for the city. It does a lot for the city. Notoriety for the city, gives the kids an option, a great place to play. And I think, to be honest, like, it's matched with football. Football's had some success in the past. Now basketball's obviously, it's been a good situation down there. The administration's been great there.
Absolutely, man. And the DJ says a lot of talented athletes down there at Houston, man. Absolutely.
Oh, no doubt.
Too much talent in Houston, man. And so it's good to see some of that being home cultivated. Now I know you're more of a well, this was maybe the younger rhetoric, more of a fan of Dallas guys per se. And we had a conversation many years ago. You kind of won me over. I was like, okay, because I know you coach for the Mustangs. That's your affinity that you've had to, you know, to the area. And you made a case. I was like, all right. But still, doesn't take away what Houston is doing now.
You know, it's so crazy. I've spent a lot of time, probably equal amount of time, probably more time in Houston than I have Dallas in my career. You know, coaching at Prairie View, coaching at U of H, you know, being an SFA, being down that way. I've spent a lot of time in Houston. If you look at, to be honest, a lot of kids I recruited actually more recently have come from Houston, in South Texas, I should say, from Port Arthur on to Houston to Tascasita, like places like that. So, like, it's Texas to me, and I've been blessed to be able to get some good kids from this state, and it's so many of them. Like he said, not only Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, to get all these kids and to have them at your beck and call. There's some states that might have 5 Division I kids. There's some states that have 1.
Yeah,
and you're reminded that when you go places and their whole roster is, you know, a pot of stew from all over the country. But to be able to go in Texas, find 1 through 5, you know, multiple kids that can play for you, it's a gift that we have, and we're spoiled here in the state. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I you know, me being a Texas or Houston product, Division I product, you know, I have an affinity for the H, man, at all times. Texas as a whole, man, because we just a bedrock of talent in all sports. Because we grow up and that's the first thing they do, put a ball in your hand. Just depend on the size of the ball, you know, of what you commit to. But that's just ingrained in our culture. And it's good to see you, being there. So shout out Flight Sports TV in the building. Appreciate you, brother. And speaking of, you know, so we talked about in-home Texas talent, but you guys had recently a signing of Lamar Washington, who's the Oregon Player of the Year, man, and that's fresh off the presses, man. You want to talk a little bit about Mr. Washington?
Man, talented kid, man. So before I got here, Coach Adams hired a guy named Barrett Perry, and he was the head coach at Portland State. And so he had been able to see Lamar in high school. And Lamar just kind of blew up this summer. Was the MVP of the Adidas circuit, played for Dream Vision. Kind of got recruited to leave his home state and moved to AZ Compass, which is a power program, one of the best high school programs in the country, and plays there. And we kind of got in on him on the ground level kind of early. And what people don't know about Lamar, he was an unbelievable football player and just chose that basketball was going to be his path. So we got in early and we just stuck in there. Coach Perry did a great job fighting and kind of weathered the storm, and we ended up getting him. So along with our other guys that we got, we're loving this addition, and it's been great, man. I love Lamar.
There you go, man. And so, and again, just showing what Texas Tech has elevated to. You're getting out-of-state kids like that, a high level. That's a 4-star kid. We're talking again, Player of the Year and the Gatorade Player of the Year out of Oregon. So you're getting top-tier talent. Whereas, some will argue, again, I'll speak for myself, not you. Maybe Tech didn't get the first crack at a guy like that. We're talking 10, 15 years ago. So it's very good to see, man, because Texas Tech succeeding is success for the whole state. That's just facts.
But the beauty of that is, in Texas, those 3-stars have been pros over the years. A lot of them, the Carson Edwards of the world, the Armani Brooks of the world, the Damian Dawsons of the world, Jimmy Butler. I don't know if he even had 3 stars. He's Olympian, and you could keep going on and on. Andre Emmett, I'm sure he wasn't a 4 or 5-star. Like, you could keep going on in this state about kids that just get overlooked, and all they do is go have success and be successful. And like I say, I don't think it's new. I think that's been going on since the beginning of time. It's just something that's why these schools have had success. That's why they've been successful.
That's dope. And okay, slightly unrelated. It got my wheels thinking about unranked kids. So I tell this story on YouTube a lot, and I want to make sure I'm telling it correctly. You remember we played Weber State with Dame Lillard?
Yeah.
I don't think he's a 1-star kid, was he? Yeah, we played him at UCLA.
I don't know how many stars he had. I know he wasn't, I don't think he was a highly recruited, high major type guy.
He didn't start.
He was young. We played him at UCLA. I remember that. And then I ended up going to San Jose State and played him again. He gave us 43.
Oh.
That was the year he got drafted, and they beat us at Weber. So I got to coach against him quite a couple of times, and the way he matured as a player was unbelievable. And I can remember after the game, somebody asked me about him, like, "What about this Dame Lillard kid?" I remember we're thinking Dame Lillard after the fact. In my mind, it was a kid at Weber that was all conference player that was good. You know, comparing him in my mind to everybody else in the world. I was like, he's a really good player at this level. Like, I don't feel like he made a mistake as far as a read that game on ball screens. Like, if the double came, he got rid of the ball, gave it to somebody else. If they tried to jump out hard head, he split the defense. If they went under the screen, he pulled up for a jumper. Like, he just made solid plays. Like, I think people think like he was out there, what's the shoot button on the video game? X button, Y button?
Triangle. No, not triangle, box.
The box, but they think he was out there squaring it. Yeah. Squaring it. Oh, no, it wasn't like that. He was just playing the right way. When he played the right way, good things happen. So, there's a whole bunch of – and I know it's nationally, but like I said, I was just speaking for Texas. Nationally, for every guy like that, you look at the NBA right now, it's full of guys who are, Steph Curry's and Dame Lillard's and C.J. McCullough's and Kawhi Leonard's and Paul George's, non-Power 5 guys, Yep. So I think basketball, and I think that's a testament not to non-Power 5, not to Power 5s, but just how global the sport has become and how many people are playing the sport, and putting in the man hours to get better. And, it's working for a lot of people.
Yeah, and y'all hit the like button on this, man. We giving you breakdowns beyond just, he's a great shooter. How many streams you get where a guy can break down the pick and roll in 3 different ways and be a super effective? It didn't just leave off that he scored 42. You're showing that he knew how to react all 3 ways off the pick and roll, which you see a lot of guys mismanage that.
Oh, yeah.
And that does lead to quote unquote bad basketball. So those kind of nuances would make players great. Again, it seems like nothing to the naked eye, but you being able to properly read how the defense adjusts to a high ball pick and roll, those things get you easier buckets. Now you gotta have the ability, if they lag back, to step back from 35 and hit it now.
Yeah.
Granted, but when you're smart enough to know when to pump and then go split the D, like you said, or when to just pass off when they come too high on you, those things make you a good player because you don't stagnate the offense being a point guard, and you're basically making the defense guess every time because you keep guessing right when they send a look at you. So now they're trying to counter to the counter that you made, and that makes for a very dangerous player, in my opinion.
I would go as far as say he wasn't guessing. He was just making the right read. Like, a lot of guys try to go get 42. And the truth is, in that game, I want to say went to overtime or double overtime. At the end of overtime, he probably had 25 or something. And then his team knew when they got in overtime, it was his show. At that point, that's when it was like, okay, let me go ahead and win this. You could just, and like I say, it was a game. We probably could have won in regulation, and we're up 3, we don't foul, he hits a 3, and then we go into overtime, he does it again in another 3 to put it in the next overtime, and then I think the last time we were up 2, and he denied the ball screen. We tried to trap it, and the guy jumped on us out, and he denied it and went and got a and one. The rest is history. But my point is, his team, he played within the team. He kept doing what the team needed. And then when it was time that the team needed him, he was available.
Absolutely. Hey, best ability is availability. That's for
Coach Newman.
Coach Newman in the building. Break it down, Coach
building.
Hester. Morris Dixon says a few things about Coach Hester I admire him are his ability to recruit, his networking skills, know everybody, and his knowledge of the game. He knows you well. He knows you well. And Coach, and I'm going to ask you 2 more things before we peace out. And one, if your insights, I know because we're finishing up the preseason play, so we're about to head into conference, and you guys have you guys got some roadblocks to drive over.
Indeed.
Starting out, early, you got Baylor pretty early, 4th game into conference. You got Kansas. You got UT. So what are you guys kind of looking to do in the Big 12? I know you want to win it, but just, are you guys kind of seeing that, preseason is excellent? What are your insights going towards Big 12 competition?
I'm going to sound like a coach here. We got 1 more game before conference that we ain't overlooking.
Fair enough.
Right? And then we got Oklahoma State. And to be honest, I hadn't even looked at the schedule past that.
That's fair.
And I say that to say this. Like, you just want to be where our feet are. And like I say, you can control where you control. When I was 25 years old and coaching, I go look at the schedule and say, man, we can win that one, we can win that one. But once you get up, once you get older and more mature in the sport, and you learn from some of the greats, you understand if you do what you're supposed to do, every game is winnable. Every game is winnable. You do what you're supposed to do. You go prepare, and in your preparation, that's when you trust your work. And so we just want to go prepare to beat our next opponent, scout them well, do a good job preparing our team for that. And then after that, we'll take it a game at a time, a game at a time. And then whoever our opponent is, we know they're going to put their shoes on the same, put their pants on one leg at a time. We're going to go play basketball.
Yeah, no, I want to hear this out of your mouth because that is how you approach life when you get older. Yep. You understand that everything is meticulous. Everything needs to be methodical in the way you go about business. And it is good to hear that that's the way you guys view it. Just stay in the moment. Don't get too big. Don't start counting your chickens early. Mm-hmm. Every team, you got the proper scout. You got the proper evaluation. Okay, here we go. Let's do this.
Every team can beat you. Yeah, and you can beat every team. So I don't ever want to overlook an opponent. The worst feeling is when you overlook one, and you don't feel like you put your best foot forward. So I learned a long, long time ago, the next opponent is the best opponent.
There you go.
And we want to prepare for the next opponent. They come in here, we're prepared, and we do a good job, and we show our work on the floor, show what we've been working on. So come together as a team.
I love it. Man, I can just resonate that back to my senior year. We played Southwest Assemblies of God, man, and it turned out to be a headache beating them dudes, man.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Why y'all ain't let us win?
Yeah. Hey, man, they got to feed their kids too.
Yeah, man.
So, and then those are lessons learned way back when, and like I say, I've had that ability. I keep, we talk about the Kelvin Sampsons and Mark Adams and Paul Mills and Eric Kunkles that I work for, but I learned stuff from Byron Rim. I learned stuff from Terry Waldrop at Texas Western, won a national championship at Texas Western. I learned stuff from Tim McGraw at Northlake, who won like 3 national championships at his level. And people say, well, Division III JUCO. He got Division III JUCO players. He playing against people with Division. Like, it's apples to apples.
I played against McGraw, man. His team always well prepared at Northlake. Always.
Well prepared. One of the best in the country at getting his team prepared. And so I worked for Danny Casper, another one you played for.
DK.
Worked for some really good bosses. I don't want to leave out Andre Payne. And people say, oh, he's in Mississippi Valley. But he came from Texas College to get a Division I job in Mississippi Valley. Like, he was a really good coach. So, like, I've worked for some really good ones that I've been able to learn from. And I used to hear Terry Waldrop say all the time, I might not be the smartest, but I can copy after people who are, And I think that's what this business is about. I think that's why you see a bunch of Nick Saban, his disciples being head coaches, because they've copied his success. I mean, I saw something he had the other day of all his coaches that are head coaches now. And the crazy part, it wasn't that like they just went from there to Georgia and dominated. Like, some of them went to Louisiana Lafayette, dominated there, and got their chance to go up. So it's like that leadership he's showing and what he's done for his coaches, what he's invested in them and their careers and their lives has paid off. And I just want to be that guy to soak up knowledge from the guys I work with.
And that's profound. And I'm glad you mentioned some of the HBCU elements here, because now there's a consciousness level raised about the HBCU sports experience. Right. Again, we talked about Texas Southern being Florida, number 20 by 15. Like, it was a thorough spanking, right?
Right.
And again, elevating the consciousness of, I had a conversation with a brother who played for Coach Ben Jobe at another one of his landing spots, I think at Tougaloo College. Ben Jobe went somewhere after Southern.
I don't know where he went after Southern.
But I remember, Ben Jobe being one of the guys beating Georgia Tech in the tournament at Southern University. You know what I mean? And so it's just funny how we had that connection through that story. You mentioned Coach Jobe. Well, Coach Jobe, I actually, funny backstory, when I left Stephen F. Austin, I was going to transfer to Southern University, but Coach Jobe had just got fired. Oh, wow. And I talked to the assistant coach. I forget his name. He's like, man, I'd love to have you, but I don't even know if I'm going to have a job. So I was like, I respect it. The JUCO I go, baby.
Hey, you know what, though? And it paid the way.
Yeah, it did. Absolutely, man. Yeah, so I'm waiting for that Texas Tech and Tech, because, one of your good buddies coaches over there.
Which one? Oh, that matchup?
Texas,
yes, indeed.
Ewing versus Talvin, man. I'm definitely want to check that out.
Not at all, man. Not at all. Hey, he nor I'm shooting any jump shots.
Which you fancy yourself to be a good jump shot shooter back in the day. You still got the J on you?
Hey, man, when you get older, it get better because you can't do nothing else. Hey, man, I wasn't no high flyer like Cliff Franks, man. I see you out there dunking still. I ain't doing that, but I can pull it from deep still.
You know what? I will give you props. You were shooting, I ain't going to say Curry range, but you had that deep range back then when it was kind of absurd to be shooting deep threes like that.
I could throw a few in. I used to remember you always saying, he can't hit them on the line.
Yeah.
That used to make me so mad. I used to step up there.
Dan used to say that because when you was on the line, you couldn't, but 2 steps back, you would hit him. Yeah, I remember that. Hey, golly, I was such a troll. Golly, I'm a troll.
I'm going to bring up something so funny. We ain't going to talk about it before we get off the phone, but you were talking about HBCUs. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, I think they deserve the same platform everybody else got to get, not only did I go to Prairie View, I got my master's from Grambling State University, and so they deserve the same platform everybody else gets. mid-major, whatever, and I don't think it should be, and it's the world we live in. I don't think it should be special when a good player goes to one. Because at the end of the day, I'm a product of one. You're a product of one. There are successful people that come out of those places, and there were successful athletes that come out. There's successful people in academics that come out of those places. They're just successful. I mean, you look at your team that you have with Ahmed being a police officer, and Dewan being a social media,
high
what would
level
you call it?
influencer.
High
Absolutely.
level influencer on social media, a million followers, social media, yourself, Hoop Drunk. And we can go on and on and on and on about the success of just your teammates out of that place. And not to even talk about the ones that came after them. And I would say I'm a product of being in that place. Uric Malagi went to Howard University, So, I mean, there are successful people everywhere. It's a big deal because I guess Dion is a flashy personality guy, and he brings a lot of attention to it with the added element of social media. But I would challenge people to open their minds and understand that pros have always been back to coach. Doug Williams was winning championships there a long time ago.
Cynthia Cooper, anybody?
Cynthia Cooper was winning championships a long time ago at places like there. There was a guy named Reggie Barlow that was at Alabama State that won a championship as a receiver with Tampa Bay, who was the head coach of Alabama State now. But my point is, these aren't the first guys that were pros that came back to coach at HBCUs. I think what's happening in social media is showing these people. And let's be really honest, these ain't the first transfers that went back to HBCU. You were a transfer that came back to HBCU, And we played again. You played against guys that would go to other places and come back to HBCUs to play and were dominant. And that's been going on since the beginning of time. And I don't think it'll ever stop. I'm glad the HBCUs are getting the notoriety for it. I just want people to understand their school is just like anywhere else. The education is good. The people are good. And I challenge the alumni from those places to give back because that's a major difference in where the funding comes from. The state only provides so much. But I mean, a dollar a month, it's more than nothing. It's like, I tell young cats when they talk about saving money, everybody thinks that you got to save $100, $200, $300, $500, $1,000 at a time. No, just save what you have. And, be where your feet are, save what you have. And I got that advice from somebody way smarter than me. And you save money, and then years down the road, you got it. But just be where their feet are. I think those schools deserve as much notoriety and a chance to win as anybody else. HBCU alums, go ahead and support your schools, give back, and give them a platform to be able to build facilities and give the kids little things like food and training table and those things that make the platform equal. And then let's go compete and give people what they want, and that's competitive games. And that's not just for HBCUs, that's for everybody.
I'm with that, man, because at the end of the day, I mean, there's a selfish element that likes HBCU succeeded. Because why? It gives me being an HBCU product, it makes me more proud about what I was a part of, just being honest. But secondarily, people who before me who have shown that already, like in the NFL, you got guys like Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, Michael Strahan considered the best of their position ever.
Yeah.
You understand me? So it deserves the credit because the talent is there. You see guys like Tavares Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Went to, Bama State, transferred from Arkansas.
Aeneas Williams, Southern.
Come on. We can rattle these names off all day.
You can ride ball, you can run basketball. I mean, it's just, like I say, Willis Reed, Graham, like you can rattle them off in every sport.
Trey Johnson, Jackson State. Yep.
Oh, man. I just talked to Trey that day. Matter of fact, we played him coming up to 28, so I get to holler at my boy a little bit.
What school Trey at now?
He's Mo Williams' assistant at Alabama State. He's Mo Williams' assistant at Alabama State. So, So at the end of the day, like I said, we this has been going on. There's more notoriety, which has always been good. And like I say, they deserve the same platform that all the other mid-majors get. And if Dion's over there building a juggernaut, let him do it. I don't see why other people have a problem with that. He's packing the arena. He's doing it for more than Black people. He's doing it for the city of Jackson, for the state of Mississippi. Um, he's giving kids a chance, and I think if anybody else did it, they wouldn't have a problem with it. So big up to Dion and big up to Ashley Robinson, of course, who we know very well,
Yeah,
for doing a great job as AD at Jackson State. So
absolutely.
big up, yeah.
Yeah, I won't hold against it. They stole him from Prairie View. That's cool. But no, shout out to Ashley, man. Shout out
Ashley had to do all his
E.
best for his fans.
Ian Kid podcast in the building, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to y'all, rather. So yeah, man. So Talvin, I appreciate your time, man. I know time is valuable. You being a high level busy coaching and all, and so
same old Talvin, man.
Dude that do not return phone calls. Oh my God, Talvin is the funniest dude ever, man. He like stay by your phone. Let me hit you right back. I'll talk to you in a few months, Talvin.
Hey, my intentions are always good, man.
I'm not saying they're not, just your execution.
hey. How about working on getting them kids, man, them players?
And I'm with you.
I'm gonna leave with a story, man, to make you laugh and us laugh, man.
All right,
you and Ahmed, Calvin, and even Mo Dixon, all the guys I used to be with at Prairie View. One of the funniest times of my life happened at Prairie View on the road at Mississippi Valley. Hey, I don't want to throw you under the bus, LeVon Barnes, but after practice, everybody's getting dressed, and LeVon used to be bumping his mouth, and our trainer Lewis said, "Let's play one-on-one." And I mean, the whole gym circle around it. This is early social media days. This is early camera phone. Like, dudes got their camera phones out. And LeVon got beat by Lewis, man.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Ever. And, hey, if you want to go check it out, it's called Best One-on-One Game Ever. I think it's on YouTube.
No, worst one-on-one
worst
game.
One-on-one game ever. That's what it's called. Hey, it was the early days, man. And I mean, it kept us smiling, and it was just those days I'll remember forever, man. It's one of my favorite things that happened in coaching, away from the court, just kind of with the family type deal. That I've been a part of, man. And we'll never forget. We're gonna go to our graves talking about that one-on-one game, man.
It was the best thing in the world. and Talvin not building it properly, because the funny part is Lewis is our trainer, but he's really short, like 5'2", like very short of a guy. And Barnes is like he's kind of more of he was round, and he thought he was just great athlete as a coach. We like, coach, man, Lewis low key will watch you. And it turned to a thing, and then Barnes kind of talked himself into a corner he couldn't get out of. Oh man, then Lewis started just hitting him with them threes with his legs spread apart. Oh my God, it was so good, man. I was in tears watching that game, man. I was in tears.
I was in tears watching. To this day, man, it was the funniest thing I've ever been a part of watching in my life.
Yeah. Y'all look it up. Worst one-on-one game ever. It is the funniest thing you will watch.
You're gonna have to post that link. Post that link on one of your platforms.
I'm gonna put it in this chat, as a matter of fact.
In this chat, man.
That's the funniest thing.
Y'all get to watch it, man. Hey, LeVon, we still love you, man.
Yeah, we love you, Barnes, but boy, you. Oh man, you should not.
Sweet baby Lou.
Sweet. Oh, good times. Golly, good times. So, Coach, I appreciate you, man. Anything you want to impart upon the audience before we peace out, man? It's been a great interview, man.
I would just challenge all young coaches, man, to be where your feet are. I don't care where you start. I started at North Lake College. I didn't start at Texas Tech. And it didn't happen overnight either.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, I started North Lake and went to Texas Western, Texas College, and just kept being where my feet were. And I've been blessed to have this opportunity. And I just want to keep working and do the best that I can, and hopefully give somebody advice that'll help them go through the same kind of journey I went through and have fulfillment and giving back to the kids that I give. And I tell people all the time, the best part of coaching to me, not only is winning games, that is love, but when these young men that you become a part of their lives, when they move on from being young men to adults, and they go from being like mentees to friends. And these relationships that you have with them as adults is unbelievable. And Cliff, it's like what we have in Ahmed, and we talked about Mo and V and Tamika and all these people that we've been knowing for years have become friends, and you become family to me. So that's the best part about it to me. And I think if more people focus on that, those wins will take care of itself because you're pouring into those young men and young women for all you women out there.
Can't top that, man. That's a hell of a message, man. And we appreciate you on the show, man. You got to come back and talk. Hopefully y'all be hoisting up some hardware at the end of the year.
That's the goal. That's the goal, man.
There we go. There we go. So, man, appreciate y'all. Y'all hit the like button on the way out. It's important, again, to have individuals like Talvin on the show to give you guys some game, give you guys some insight, give you guys some wisdom about what it takes to get to this level. Like he said, starting at North Lake College, Division III junior college. And now where he is today, you always got to beat your feet, man. I always get to that point where you're always looking to strive upward, always looking to strive forward. It's funny you mentioned that, Talvin. I'm a part of this group called the Black Manosphere, and we had a meetup in Atlanta, and I was asked to be a speaker, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What I talked about was my journey, me being a one-year letterman, a 0-star recruit, walking on the SFA, going to Mountain View College, D3 JUCO in Dallas, going to Prairie View, getting myself overseas. Man, you just gotta. I like that statement you said. Be where your feet at, man. Every level, get yourself to the next level.
Get yourself to the next level by making that level great.
There you go.
I mean, how many people told me, a guy at the JUCO I worked there was like, "You're gonna be a Division I coach." Yeah, right. Nobody at North Lake becomes Division I coaches, And then also, when I was in the SWAC, man, how many people tell me you can't get out the SWAC, man, you're gonna get stuck. You know how many times I heard that? But at the end of the day, man, when you're destined to do something and you do it to the best of your ability, people notice. And that's why you be where your feet are, because the people who need to notice what you're doing, they notice.
That's so true, man. You just, even with these live streams, I've gotten opportunities through here where you just don't know who watches your stuff. And I'm very appreciative. I don't know if you know, I got to, meet LeVar Ball, and it's just from this. It's from this. Like, you just do your job, man. Do what you do.
Yep.
What's for you will come your way.
One more nugget for you. And this is about you, Cliff. I'm going to brag on you for a little bit.
I appreciate it. You can take as long as you need to.
So I always ask young men, not so much what you want to major in, but what you want to do. And that's a different question, because being passionate about something and doing something is different from just majoring in something you want to do. If you do what you're passionate about, success will come. Success is defined in different ways, but success will come. And I commend you on getting this platform started. I remember when you started it, and doing what you're passionate about. And I guarantee the sky's the limit for you, because it's not something you could have went to school for, not something anybody could have taught you. It's something you love doing, something you're passionate about. And I hope you're an example to a bunch of other young people to find out what you love doing. And there's a way to monetize that later. But to do it, you have to, one, love doing it, two, be passionate about it and do it if they don't pay you a dime for it. I didn't get paid a dime in North Lake College. And then once you become successful at it, people notice, and you're going to greatness. And I told you before, somebody's going to find you, Cliff. You do a really good job. Proud of you, happy, and just affect other people's lives and give it back to somebody else.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, because I do try with my free time, man, which I don't have a lot of, but I do want to give people quality when I am on here. And I appreciate that goes noticed, because it was hard to get this channel grinded up to be monetized and get the people who follow it. It's hard, because when you first start, nobody listening to nothing you got to say. Very humbling, you know what I mean? So I'm appreciative to everybody who patronized this. And again, my treat to them is to have them listen to you, because you're somebody who you've been an advisor to me since about 21 years old. So,
appreciate
that. Man, appreciate that.
And what you gave me instead was gray hair. So,
well, it's better than no hair.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's how your boy working over here.
And $50 cuts, I'm gonna be with you.
Yeah. That's crazy. But so appreciate y'all, man. Again, hit the like button on the way out, man. This is a great, momentous occasion. Me and Talvin talk shop about this kind of stuff all the time. But I wanted to get an opportunity you guys to experience as well, especially you Texas Tech fans know what kind of gem of a coach you have. And so till next time, that's all I got, man.
All right, man. We'll holler at you. Thank you for the platform, man. Appreciate everything.
Yes, sir, man. Y'all take care. And as we always do, Kendrick Perkins, take us home, big fella.
Shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
Shout out to Hoop Jargon.
Shout out to Hoop Jargon.